In today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 powerful ways to increase your cash flow in a much quicker time frame than you thought was possible. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor, dentist, attorney, or any other high-income professional that's spending 40, 60, 80 hours a week at work. You'll have what you need to know after today's video without having to put in any extra hours so you can stop trading your valuable time for money. Now, if you're new to this channel, I'm Dr. Jeff Anzalone, a periodontist and real estate investor. My job is to teach you how to get out of the rat race by developing multiple streams of passive income. All right, let's get right into it. Step number 1, stop spending money to impress others. Now, when I got out of dental school and a residency, I didn't go back for like 10 years. And when I returned to the reunion and I spoke with some of my classmates, I was completely amazed at the stuff that they'd bought since we'd graduated. Now, I know for a fact that these people, most of them had hundreds of thousands of dollars of student loan debt, like I did too. Some of them were probably making more than others, but for the most part, I would say the majority were making 150, 200, maybe 300,000 a year. Now, when I was at this reunion, some of my classmates were showing me pictures of their houses, their fishing camps, hunting camps, boats, the private schools that their kids go to, country clubs, all of this stuff. And to me, it was amazing. And I'm not saying don't buy this stuff, but do you really need all of that, especially only that short of a time period after graduation? It's next to impossible to build wealth. I'm talking about real wealth when you're trying to look rich to everybody around you. So one of the quickest ways that you can start increasing your cash flow is simply stop spending money on waste. Here's another thing. All of the stuff that you buy, it's going to go down in value. Now, once you get to the point you become disciplined enough with this type of thinking, then guess what? Your cash flow is going to go up and you have more available to put towards investing in assets that are going to provide you with more cash flow. That's step number 1. Step number 2, I want you to focus on getting really, really good at sales, marketing, and customer service. I don't care what you do for a living. You may be a plumber, doctor, engineer, teacher, whatever. Too many people today are focused on doing tasks that do not produce income. Now, back when I was in dental school, most of the patients that we treated, they paid little to no money when they went to the dental school for the treatment. And I really never gave it a second thought that when I started this practice, people would balk about the treatment that I was recommending to them. I just wasn't used to that. It was like, okay, you need this, and that was it. I'd tell them, Mrs. Jones, you need that back molar removed. We'll take it out, we'll put a little bone in there, and then a few months later, we'll replace it with an implant. I'd spend 30, 45 minutes explaining everything, and then she'd go up to the front with the receptionist, and when she got the price, guess what? She walked out the door. Now, after this went on for several weeks and months, I realized that, you know what? If we didn't get good at how to sell, quote, sell these treatments to patients, we'd go broke. Practice wouldn't last. At that time, I had student loans up to my eyeballs and I had mouths to feed. So it was like do or die. I mean, it was like I had to learn the skill or else. So if you want to increase in your cash flow, again, it doesn't matter what you do for a living, learn how to get really good at selling. And don't forget about the marketing. So regarding the marketing, think about it. It's hard to make any sales if you don't have any leads coming through the door. Now, when I say leads, those are people that are interested in doing business with you, whether it's a patient, customer, client, whatever. It doesn't matter. And if you don't want to do the selling, if you don't want to do the marketing, then just simply hire somebody that will. Remember, the marketing is going to generate the leads and the sales convert the leads. Marketing generates the leads, you get good at sales, those convert the leads to paying patients, clients, whatever. And if any of this isn't in your skill set, then delegate it. And don't forget about another thing, very important thing, customer service. Because I don't care how good your marketing is to get people in your door, if your service sucks, they'll walk out and I guarantee you they're going to tell others how bad your customer service is. Now, way back when, I've learned a lot about customer service from the Disney Corporation. And a few years ago, I wanted to know how they attracted, trained, and more importantly, retained their employees, which they call cast members. So I was going to a meeting in Orlando, and a friend of mine said, "Look, you want to do something to completely change your practice?" I said, "Sure." He said, "Whenever you come out here, apply to go work at Disney. Literally go undercover and figure out what they do." He said, "I did this years ago." He said, "It completely changed my business." I said, "Are you kidding?" He said, "No, I'm serious." So I did it. I went undercover as a periodontist and applied for a job, and I went through the whole process. But you know what? I learned more about not only to find unbelievable people to work with, but how to really instill the type of culture that I wanted in my practice into them. Let me ask you a question. What's Disney best known for? Keeping their parks really, really clean, right? And while I was undercover, I found out exactly how they did that, exactly how they instilled that into their cast members. I took that information and then I used it into my practice to get my team members really focused on what I think is most important to our practice. So if you want to know exactly what I found out, simply leave a comment below this video and let me know, and I'll share it with you. All right, moving on to step number 3. Start a side gig using your knowledge and using your experience. Now, one of the easiest things to do to increase cash flow is to provide information. You can easily provide it online about something that you're really passionate about, like what I'm doing now. So, question, what do you know about, or what do you know how to do real well? Maybe you know how to make something. Maybe you're really good at your particular skill or your particular profession. Now, I believe everybody has knowledge and experience. And think about it, in the world that we're living in right now, knowledge and experience are a very, very valuable commodity that you can sell. So, a couple questions you can ask yourself. What have you done your whole life? What are you good at? What are you better at than most people? What do you have a large passion for? Well, maybe you've got years of experience, or maybe not quite yet, but because you enjoy it so much, you could get that experience quickly and then take that information and sell it at a very low overhead. But guess what? Very high margin. Now, if you're enjoying this content that we've been discussing so far, make sure you click the link below this video and grab a copy of the Passive Income Guide. I've put this together specifically for you so you can get out of the rat race to increase your cash flow. Speaking of cash flows, move on to step number 4. Invest capital that's coming in into assets that in turn that's going to produce more capital. All right, so capital is a lump income. It's the stream that you have coming in from your main profession or career. So if you're an ER doctor, you take that capital that comes in from the hospital, and also maybe you have sold some stuff online, or you maybe started an online coaching program or whatever. So any money that you're bringing in, whether it's from one source or multiple sources, that's coming into your household, and when that money comes in, instead of spending it on what most people spend it on, liabilities, which is what we talked about in step number 1, stop spending on liabilities, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to take that capital that's coming in, again, from multiple sources, and in turn, you're going to put it into assets, okay? Assets are things that produce income. And then those assets, they actually spin off income, specifically passive income. And then you take that and you reinvest most of that back into assets, which again gives you more capital to work with. So you create this compounded effect. So you take the capital, you preserve it by only putting it into things that not go down in value, which is stuff, but actually go up in value, like real estate, my favorite class. Really more specifically, passive real estate syndications, which I'm going to tell you a little bit more about shortly. Which leads us to the final step, and that is compounding and preservation of capital. So again, these assets, in turn, remember, they make income. And this creates a compounding and preservation of capital income. So that extra capital you're going to start receiving, okay, not talking about your job, but the extra capital you're going to get, it's going to produce income, which then in turn, we take that income, we put it back into assets, remember, then those assets spin off income, and then it just keeps going cycle, cycle, cycle. And it's this massive compounding snowball effect. I'm actually in my 6th year of investing in syndications right now. And it's unbelievable to see every year how big of a, not a debt snowball, but I guess it would be a passive income snowball that it's making. It's unbelievable. That's why I'm trying to teach you this to get out of the rat race. Now, I understand that at first, when you start doing this, what we're recommending, and I remember this too. I started looking at my account. I'm like, well, I'm only making just a few $100. What's the big deal? And like I said, I experienced this when I first started investing in syndications. The quarterly distributions were trickling in and not really amounting to much. But again, over time, these started to compound and grow as I kept consistently. I was disciplined enough to keep you know, putting this capital into assets, every single year, consistent basis, even though I was just getting a little bit of return. And then I would take my money when I was putting into assets, and then as those started producing money, which comes back into the form of distributions, then again, all that started to grow and things started to get better. So then those hundreds and hundreds of dollars, they turned into thousands and thousands of dollars. And that turned into tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands. And now uh, I've been fortunate enough to amass a 7-figure portfolio in this type of real estate only after doing this about 6 years with this strategy. Look, you buy assets with capital. If you spend your capital on liabilities, your capital is going to erode away, and therefore you can't buy assets. I mean, there's really nothing fancy about that. And, it is what it is. So do everything that you can to preserve your capital and invest it into assets that, again, in turn will make you more money. Now, earlier I talked a little bit about my personal experience investing in real estate. And if you'd like to learn more about what I do to make more passive income using this strategy, simply head on over here to this video where I'm going to walk you through how you can become a millionaire through real estate investing, whether you're a new person or not. Take care, and I'll see you in this video.